Everybody, it's me, Laura, the Eggcentric Egg Lady, and today we are going to be doing some basics with eggshell and polymer clay. This is kind of something I have been holding on to for a long time, and so it's time to let you know how I do this. So I have two different ways of draining an eggshell. The first way is using, of course, I got to have my water and my running water in my sink, but it's using a simple needlepoint scissors. And I have the small scissors in my kitchen, and all I'm doing is I'm finding the one end I want to go ahead and make a small hole, and I tap on the outside of the eggshell just like a little woodpecker would. And so it's just knocking into that eggshell. This way then it'll create a little tiny hole, and then I take my scissors and I go into that hole and I cut out an even larger hole in the eggshell. Now this is not going to crack the entire egg, and it works really well. So I'm going to lift off that extra eggshell. I'll take my scissors, I'll just dunk it down into the yolk there, and then I just start to shake the egg right out of the eggshell. Once I have the yolk out of the eggshell, I try to rinse this thing out as best I can. I'm not going to get everything out. There is a membrane inside the eggshell that we're going to have to clean out a little bit later here. But for right now, I'm just trying to clean out as much of the yolk and everything else as I possibly can. The other tool that I use is called a Blas-Fix tool for draining an egg. Now I know that there are other egg draining tools out there, and go ahead and check out what is out there on the internet. There's, I'm sure, a lot of different options. But for me, this is the tool that I love. I usually only drain chicken eggs. I don't have larger eggs to drain, so I figure, you know, I go to other companies that go ahead and sell those eggs, and they drain those for me. So the only egg I need to drain is a chicken. In this case, this is where the Blas-Fix tool does a perfectly good job, and I never have to worry about it. It has two tools in it. It has a little green handled, almost like screwdriver thing, and then the other one is this, it's got a bellows on the end, and I'm cleaning this out because it had yolk in there before. If this thing doesn't feel like it's pumping out air from that needle area, then use a small, I want to say needle from your sewing cabinet and stick it up into that little hollow tube, that little steel hollow tube, to get any yolk out of it. And that way then it'll be clear to work again. Do not throw this thing away. Some people have gotten this tool, oh, it doesn't work. No, 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 it does work. You just have to clean it out once in a while. Now, as you can tell there, I used the little green screwdriver thing and I kind of pushed it against the shell and twisted it. This created a little opening, and then I took the bellows end, or I should say the other tool, the yellow tool, and I stuck the needle up into that hole. I kind of pushed it in back and forth, kind of swirled the yolk around, and then I pushed the air into the egg. This helps get the egg out of the eggshell, and you have a very tiny hole left over, which is great because most of the shell is there then. So you can go ahead and create all sorts of wonderful things with this chicken eggshell. Now, once in a while, you are going to get a crack in the shell. And when you go to push air into that egg, if there is a already crack that's been there previously, this egg will probably pop on you. It'll go poop, or it'll go pop, or whatever. And you'll jump about 10 feet. And you'll you'll freak out. You'll be like, oh my gosh, no, no, it will not. It won't explode on you or anything like that. But it will, it will be a broken shell. Sometimes you get shells that have a crack in there that you do not realize it's already been pre-cracked or something like that. So check all your shells when you go to purchase them at the store or wherever you buy your chicken eggs. All right, so most of the yolk is out, and you can tell the difference from the scissor cut and the one that was drained with the Blas-Fix. The hole opening is tremendously different, but I use both kinds. I like to drain with my scissors and the Blas-Fix. And the reason for that is there's different types of eggs that I do in polymer clay, and both methods help me. In fact, sometimes I don't want to do it with the Blas-Fix tool. I'm showing you here also that I'm pushing it into the side of the egg. You can do that both sideways or vertically, and the same can be said when you do the scissor cut too. You could do it on its side or on the very end. So, there are many different ways in which you can drain these chicken eggs, and they can be very useful. It also, the way I drain these eggs also determines a lot what kind of egg type I'm going to be creating. Okay, now for my big secret on my bases to my chicken eggs. I am using my Sculpey Clay Gun here. And for those of you who don't know, the clay has so many different tools available to it. But this particular one, the clay guns, and especially the Sculpey Clay Gun, has been a tremendous help to me in creating my bases. Right here, I pressed out, and it was the clover leaf disc on my clay gun. I want to say it was the second largest type clover leaf, and I'm cutting these out. And these bases generally, when I lengthen them out and I measure it, it's about 3 inches. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one end and then I cut the other. I join them up. I use my burnishing tool and I burnish the 2 ends together. And then we go ahead and place the egg on that circular disc. All right, so here I'm just going to go ahead and measure this thing for you. I want to say, yeah, actually it's 3.5 inches. So it's around 3 inches to 3.5. It really depends upon how much of a base you really want for that chicken eggshell. And, you know, in some cases, it's probably going to be about 3.5 inches because I want to go ahead and make this for a horizontal sitting type egg. So generally my base is going to be a little bit larger than if it was an egg that's sitting upright vertically. So just so you know here, once I get this thing burnished together, and I will say once in a while, I don't always get it burnished really great and it will separate right at where that crack line is. There are ways to, of course, take care of that and cover it up so nobody's the wiser. However, that being said, I want to show you right here, I bring in my super glue. Now, yes, the clay is not baked. This is unbaked polymer clay. It hasn't been fired yet, so it is not hard and it is not inert. I'm taking a little bit of super glue and I'm putting it around on the clay base, and then I kind of just roll that opening right over the base there on the clay. And I do that because this makes it really nice for me to do my luminary eggs. I don't even have to think about it. The opening is on the bottom. I can easily clean it out now too because I've got that base there. And with the base, when I go to bake this thing, and it's a nice hard base on the bottom, it protects the rest of the shell. So I've done this with a cut scissor opening, right? Well, the shell is kind of weak right around that area. You put a little super glue down and then you put the clay over that. It's almost like it puts a cap on it. It protects it. It makes me think of, well, I'm going to be going into the dentist soon because guess what Laura did? Yes, she broke a tooth. Guess what? It's got to be crowned. So just like this is almost like a crown on a chicken egg. I can't believe I'm saying that. Okay, so now I really want to mention, see how I've got this angled at the camera? This is sitting, you know, where the eggs are not falling off the tile. There's a reason for this, okay? When you bake the clay on the eggshell, and you're going to have to bring a blade in to just gently pop that clay up off the tile. The thing with polymer clay is that it likes to adhere generally to whatever surface it's on, including the tile. So you're going to need to use a little tiny blade to get up underneath that base to pop the egg off of the tile. And I definitely suggest doing so, because if you try to remove the egg from the tile without making sure you loosen that clay from the tile, you might break the shell. That is very possible. Right here you could tell I went ahead and I broke out the rest of that eggshell right where the opening is. I do that because, you know, it gives me a little bit more room than to kind of, you know, finger on the inside of that egg if I need to. I get rid of that extra eggshell. I don't really need it. You know, the thing is the base is protecting that egg right around the bottom there, so it's perfectly fine. Same can be said here with the vertical one. You know, you got to really be careful. You know, I'm going to have to use a blade to get that thing off of there, just slightly. It doesn't adhere, you know, like really, really hard. It's just a slight little pop and it'll come right off. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and clean out our eggshell in our bleach. So right here, I've got this little container. It's got full strength bleach in it. And I've got my eggs with my bases on them, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these eggs, I'm going to turn them upside down and put them into the bleach part here. Now, I really need to wear my gloves, and I didn't do that here right away. Very bad of me, very, very, very bad. So Laura had to stop film eventually here, and I had to go back in and wash my hand off first, and then go and get my rubber gloves and then dunk my eggs in. You really should not be putting your hands in the bleach. I am terrible about this part. I am awful, awful, awful. It's not a good thing to do. Bleach is acidic. So yeah, you might want to be kind to yourself, physically, healthily, that kind of a thing, and put on some rubber gloves like I'm doing here. This is the right way. This is the right way, people. And then take your egg and then just dunk it in that bleach so that it goes into the egg to really that acid, that bleach, because it's acidic, is going to eat away at the lining on the inside of your eggshell. It'll take it out entirely, and then all you're going to have left is the shell. Now, I can already hear many of you saying to me, wait a minute, she put the egg in the bleach and the base, the clay base, was still on it. And I'm like, yes. And you're like, really? And I'm like going, yes. Here's the thing, people. You can put polymer clay into the bleach. It's not going to be hurt by the bleach. I don't know why it is. I have done this for many, many years. It has never hurt it in the past. The only way that the clay can be hurt by the bleach is when you're dealing with colored clay. That's the only way. And I'll get into that more later. I'll be talking about it. You'll see me when I do it and everything. I'll explain it all then. But with the white, it doesn't matter anyways, because bleach bleaches things white. It's white. It doesn't cause any kind of divots or anything into the clay. The clay's just a happy little camper when it goes into that bleach with the eggshell. So do not feel like, you're upsetting anything here. Now, as soon as you get that egg into the, into the bleach, and actually I've got a number of them in here now too, so I've put about like 5 in there. Make sure you cover this so you're not breathing the fumes of that bleach. After a while, that's just not good for you. It's just not good for you, which is also why I close up this cabinet here. This is a cabinet I have it in. Now, I'm taking the lid off of here to show you what it's like when that bleach goes to work and starts to eat away at that liner on the inside of the shell. You can still see some yellow here, okay? But eventually what's going to happen is all of those bubbles are going to be everywhere. So it's going to pretty much take over the whole top surface of the bleach container here. And you'll see that in this part right here. I'm opening up. I came back a little bit later, and now you're really starting to see the foam on top. You barely can see any yellow at all. I mean, I'm letting the light in. You can really tell now. It's really foaming up. It's really working at getting that liner out of the eggshell. Now, the way in which you can tell that you've gotten all the, the inner lining on the eggshell out is by looking on the inside. You got to check this thing every once in a while, but you empty out all the bleach there and then look on you see that little yellow part on the inside of the egg? Yeah, that is still part of the yolk in there. You got to get all of that out. Anytime you see any kind of yellow part inside the eggshell, it's not completely dissolved yet. So let that bleach do its business and get all of the liner out. You can even put it up to a light to make sure that you've gotten it out. Now, a quick way in being able to mark an egg, especially horizontally and vertically, well, I should say horizontally, on both a vertical and a horizontal egg, is by using my tiles here. These are small 4x4 type tiles. I've got about 5 of them. And all I do is I take my pencil, I lay it flat, and then I take my egg, because it's already got its base on it, and I just have that pencil touch the surface of the egg, and I keep the base flat on its surface and run the pencil around it. It will give you a perfectly level line. Now, once I have that line all the way around that, I will take out one of the tiles, I'll put the pencil down one, I'll draw another line, and so on. Now, I know I'm not showing you here how to make lines vertically on this eggshell, or on the vertical egg coming up either. And part of that is because it's not really, I want to do another video on marking the eggshell and doing it with a better, more well-versed version. This is just a quick way in which I mark it. You know, the nice thing about this is that those tiles are all kind of this, they're all the same thickness. So you're going to get a nice even line type thing running around the egg. Okay, so we're going to mark another egg, and this one is vertical, so it's more upright instead of horizontal like the last one, and really it's the same process. The only difference here is that you're going to notice you're going to be getting a lot more lines. I mean, look at this. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I had 7 on here, 7 tiles altogether, and that's a lot of lines to go running, you know, horizontally around this egg. But it works really great, and it's a nice, even, consistent line. Now, you're probably saying, well, what if I don't want that same thickness all the way around? This is just a guide, okay? It's just a simple guide, a simple way to get kind of a nice, consistent line running around your eggshell. And this egg is not exactly, how do I put this? Completely vertical, probably on that base. I eyeball a lot of my eggshells, okay? Which means I do not use a ton of precision. And when you're working with polymer clay on eggshell, you really don't need a lot of precision. You can really kind of let fly with it. In fact, when you start seeing more and more of my videos coming out where I will start using polymer clay, I've decided this year we're doing this. We're going to go full bore. We're going to have some fun. So enjoy this. Enjoy the journey when I'm showing you how we go through all this. I think you're going to love it. All right, so this is the end of my video on the Eggcentric Egg Lady on my basics with eggshell and polymer clay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic, egg-centric, eggy day.